then, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am on my way to Ewood. The game has not been called off. I am absolutely gobsmacked. I was a betting man. I would have bet that the game wouldn't have been going ahead today after, obviously, the fiasco with Ipswich the other week. I thought, I didn't think Rovers would want to brave it again and potentially risk the chance of us being in a winning position and only for the game to get called off again. Can you imagine if that happens again? Jesus Christ, it's not going to go down too well in the stadium, is it? But nevertheless, we are on our way to Ewood Park. An unchanged side from Tuesday, which I'm surprised about, I'll be honest. I didn't give you any pre-match or post-match thoughts in my vlog from Tuesday. I apologise. But yeah, I mean, I thought we were quite poor, to be honest with you. I thought Albiasu and Cantwell were the standouts, just like they have been all season, to be honest with you. But other than that, Hedges made a few tackles, people were going on about Hedges, but didn't really do much of note creatively. He did put in a good few challenges, to be fair to him, but an unchanged side today seems slightly bizarre to me. I thought Good Johnson, as good as I thought he was when he come on against Watford, and he's had moments. He did absolutely nothing against Swansea. But to be fair, I've had my criticisms of Yuki this season. I don't think Yuki's done enough. I thought he was alright away at Charlton in terms of bringing other players into play and whatnot, winning fouls. But in front of goal, he's not been the same player as he was last year. I do not know what's happened, which is a shame, really. But my fear at the minute is that we are very quickly turning back into a one-man team, which was the case 2 seasons ago when we nearly got relegated, and obviously we had Sammy Smodics as our one-man army in a way. It's worrying. I mean, obviously Todd Cantwell is a brilliant player, but he's not Sammy Smodics, and that's no disrespect to him. He's not a goal scorer like Sammy Smodics is. I think Cantwell will get 15-20 goals this season. Maybe 20 is too high thinking about it. Bradley Dack never got to 20 in the league for us. I mean, he only had 1.5 seasons before his injury, but he's not a Sammy Smodics type of player. He's more obviously the man who plays the pass and whatnot. He's just had to massively step up this season, and it's a good job he has, else we would be screwed. But Albiasu as well deserves so much credit. He did brilliantly for the goal against Swansea, and he's been brilliant this season. We have, surprisingly, because I rated Callum Britton so highly, this is how much I rate Albiasu. We have not missed Callum Britton at all. But it's just time for the rest of the team to step up. But it's just, I mean, obviously we've completely lost a spine of a team, really. Obviously Lewis Travis going, Dom Hyam going, Danny Bath going. Those are 3 very influential players from last season, and they're all gone. So it's kind of a case of what do you expect. This is always going to be a season of transition. I just hope it's not a season of potential relegation, but it's looking that way. In terms of today, obviously we're going up against Stoke. I think they've surprised a few people with how well they've done so far this season. They've not got a bad record from my memory anyway at Ewood. They've definitely picked up a few wins over the recent years against us at Ewood. So I'm not overly confident going into today, I'll be honest. If I was to give you a guess right now, I'm feeling that kind of negative around things at the club right now. I do unfortunately think we lose this one, and probably a similar result to 2-1. And I hate to say that. I went into this season with quite a positive mindset. Thought we could surprise a few people, but it's been anything but. I think the players need to stop feeling sorry for themselves after what happened against Ipswich. Pull their socks up and realise that it's been and gone now. You know, we were absolutely, you know, screwed over by the EFL, but they were put in a really hard position where obviously it's down to the owners at the end of the day why that pitch is flooded. You know, from what I've heard, they want the council to sort the lake out or something like that so it doesn't flood. But I mean, if anyone knows anything about what happened with Darwen Council, is that the council is absolutely skint. They can't afford a grit bin, never mind to do any sort of work on that lake. And I mean, for what reason would they? It doesn't benefit them at all, really, in any monetary way if a Blackburn Rovers game does or doesn't go ahead. There's no FFP rules when it comes to putting money into your ground and things like this and the operational costs around the club. So there's absolutely no reason why Venky shouldn't be putting their hands in their pockets, and if they want to sort it, or do something to the pitch. I've heard stuff about a drainage system and all this sort of stuff, which the club and apparently Sahel Pasha has just pushed back on, not interested. And you get situations like this where we would have had 3 points, we would have had our first home win against a newly relegated side. What a result that would have been. And unfortunately, we have to replay the game again, and you know, that 80 minutes was a complete waste for the players, complete waste of time for the fans, and just condenses our schedule even more, which will not suit us in the long term when obviously we've got one of the more thinner squads in the league, let's say. So the club at the minute is just an absolute shambles, unfortunately. And I think people are starting to get to their wits' end with Ishmael. There's only so many times you can say about how unlucky we've been in regards to refs and the pitch and whatnot, but the performances haven't been good enough on a whole for, you know, I'd say at least half the games. We just haven't been at the races. I think we've been unlucky in a couple, and yes, we've had penalty decisions not go our way, etc. Sometimes you need to take a bit of accountability, and I think he needs to put a bit of accountability onto his players rather than pinning it on stuff out of our control. So that's just my thoughts anyway. I shall see you in the ground. Okay, now we're a great start. John stole my headphones.
Left us a Stoke.
Not that we'll get it anyway. Couldn't push that, was it? Thomas.
Job, isn't it? Yes.
Come on.
Remind us of happier times. You're a brickish man!
And the substitution for Blackburn Rovers, placing number 4, Yuri Rivera. It's number 14, Guillaume Denis.
Benches left back.
Well then, the weather actually ended up holding up in the end, didn't it? It was actually sunny at one point, believe it or not. The weather feeling extremely bipolar today, just on and off with the rain. Sometimes it was absolutely bucketing it down only for a couple of minutes at a time. But yeah, dry for most of the game, so right call by the club to let it go ahead despite the weather forecasts, and I'm glad they did, because despite us playing pretty crap for, I would say, about 80 minutes of that game, we managed to go and get our first draw, our first point at home, which seems a bit depressing considering that was our fourth or fifth game at home now. But yeah, I mean, Stoke first half were the better side, but arguably I think we had the better chances. You know, Good Johnson, such a good ball into the box, and yes, it was a bit of an awkward one for him to kind of to take, but he has to be doing better than that. And again, he was a bit elusive today, kind of ghosted out the game, and I think maybe it's give Yuki a bit of a kick up the arse. You know, he came on and really put himself about, just running after the ball like a little terrier. Again, still not much of a goal threat. I mean, there was a penalty shout. Kargbo played him through on goal, a brilliant pass to be fair to him, and Yuki goes down. You know, my mate said, "Oh, I never thought him going for on goal there. He was going to score." Just not got that kind of threat at the minute, which I thought he had at times last season anyway. But yeah, just doesn't look eager to kind of shoot on goal. Always wanting to pass, Yuki. It's frustrating. But I said when Kargbo came on, I said, you know, he could do with a goal today after obviously the abuse he's received, deactivating his Instagram because, you know, obviously he was at fault for that goal against Swansea, which saw us lose the game. He should have tracked back, but I said he could do with a goal today. You know, he's not scored for us yet, and he went and did exactly that. It was kind of written in the stars. You feel that he was going to go get his first goal today, and it was some finish, to be fair. You know, I believe that's his weak foot, left foot. Arrows it into the bottom corner, gives the keeper no chance, and Cantwell did brilliant for it. I thought Deneve did brilliantly as well to get the ball into the danger area. Cantwell picks it up and then puts it back in, and Kargbo cleans it up. You know, that's something we've been lacking a lot, just in terms of when we're putting balls into the box, just having bodies to put these chances away. So many times today, it's so frustrating. You know, the ball getting floated in and there's one man there, or sometimes there's not even anyone there. You know, there was a brilliant ball in the second half, I believe, when Hedges pulled it back and into a pocket of space, and he's just got his arms up in the air because no one's there, and it must be frustrating for the wide men. I thought Morishita was elusive again. You know, he got dragged off for Kargbo. He had a really good game, that first game against Watford. Looked a threat, and I thought, bloody hell, we've got a real player on our hands here, but he's done nothing since then, to be honest with you. Kind of, yeah, just I don't even know if he really plays as a winger, to be honest with you. Every time it's going down the right hand side, it's Albiasu putting the ball in. It's never Morishita, and I guess, you know, Ishmael wants him in and around the danger area, but when you're crossing the ball in, it's never gonna really lead to a Morishita goal unless it bounces kindly for him and he tucks it away or something. But that's 1 in 100. You know, I think it made much more sense to start getting him on the ball a bit more and maybe cutting in or driving at the defence from wide. He just, yeah, I mean, he's meant to be our marquee signing, and we're not utilising his kind of strengths at the minute, I think, anyway. I think in terms of the goal, I thought it was quite poor defending again. Just so wide open, and you could just tell as soon as the attack was happening with how wide open we were, it was going to end in a goal. I don't think Ribeiro covered himself in glory for it. To be fair to Toff, you know, other than the goal, he saved everything that was asked of him today. He had more than a few times he was called into action and made a few decent saves. Nothing outstanding by any means, but some really good saves. And yeah, I mean, I'm just happy we've managed to get away with a point against a good Stoke side, so it can't be sniffed at. You know, obviously it'd have been great to get that first home win, but against a side that's very much in form at the minute, it's definitely a decent point. And like I said, I don't think we played particularly well. I think we've kind of got away with one, really. Yes, we had our chances, but I think it was definitely against the run of play when we scored. And the annoying thing is, as soon as we scored, the players just woke up. It seemed like they were up for it then. I'd put a bit of a rocket up their arse and they'd stop feeling sorry for themselves because, of all the bad luck we've had with the Ipswich game and the ref decisions. We probably should have had 2-3 more penalties this season than we have got. But it just completely woke them up, and I want to see that side moving forwards. I think after this international break, I hope that maybe this Baradji, I have no idea where he is with his fitness, but I would like to think he'd be coming back after this international break. Else, why on earth did we sign him if he's only going to be playing half the season? But yeah, I'd like to think he'd maybe start getting a bit of a look in. I thought Hickman today, he was getting a lot of abuse from some of the fans behind me. I don't think he had an awful game, but I do understand some of the comments that were being made in terms of he's not the most mobile player, he does seem a little slow. But the thing I like about Hickman is he offers that over the top ball, which he is very good at playing. He's good at switching the play, he's good at putting one over the top, and Tronstad just quite simply doesn't have that in his game. He tried it once today to Albiasu and he went out for a throw-in. Hickman, every single time he plays those balls, they usually go to the intended target. So I think he is an asset. Do I think he should be starting? Probably not. I think obviously he was brought in as a squad player, but it just seems like Tavares at the minute has absolutely no place in this team, doesn't it? I mean, he wasn't even on the bench today. Mike Targay was brought back in to the bench rather, and it leaves you scratching your head because we paid a fair bit of money for Tavares, and not having much of a look in right now at all. In terms of Gay, I was quite frustrated obviously when we were 1-0 down, and with 10 minutes to go or whatever, I'm just scratching my head thinking, why on earth is he on the bench if we're 1-0 down and we're not bringing him in? We're not bringing him on. What is the point in having him if you're not going to bring him on at that fucking point? But thankfully we went and got the goal, and then obviously he gets brought on here on the 90th minute, puts himself about a little bit, but unfortunately it does seem like the writing on the wall is there for Maktar. I do think he probably should have gone in January, and from all accounts the club was looking to move him on, but obviously that's not happened, and it does seem like he probably will move on in January unless he somehow gets his way into this team. But to me it seems like Val just does not fancy him. Good Johnson now, he's started 2 games and not done a great deal. Yuki's started all the games prior to that and in my opinion didn't do a great deal. So if he's not getting a look in now, then you've got to question, is he ever going to get one? I mean, unless there's an injury, it seems not. So that's my thoughts on the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, obviously, leave a comment, and I shall see you after the international break. We should have a pod, so keep an eye out for that. We'll have a podcast regarding all the kind of drama that's been going on at Rovers. I've got a lot to catch up on, obviously in regards to the whole Ipswich ordeal. We've not had a chat about that. Amongst other things, obviously the Lancashire Telegraph drama. And then obviously, I will see you for Sheffield United at home. That is our next game, Tuesday night. So cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.